And we are live. Welcome back to the Content Swap Podcast. You are joined by Parker and
Aaliyah.
And if you're new to the Content Swap Podcast, this is a podcast in which we assign each other a piece of content at the end of every episode, and then we engage with it for the week, and then we come back and reconvene, discuss our thoughts on that thing. Full spoilers ahead, really. And yeah, before we get into it, we're going to go ahead and provide a little life/news update. But if you just want to skip ahead to the content, go ahead and check out the timestamps in whatever platform you're watching this on to go ahead and skip ahead if that's what you'd like to do. Anyway, take it away, hun.
I don't really have much going on. Semester's wrapping up for me, so school's been kind of crazy. So not much time to really do anything else. I started the new season of Selling Sunset, which if you haven't watched that show before or heard of that show, is a reality TV show about this group of women who sell real estate in California, in LA in particular. And yeah, it's just a lot of the same old drama. And I don't know, I'm not a big reality TV person, but for some reason Selling Sunset keeps me entertained. And it's good to have on in the background as I'm doing work in the mornings. So I've been watching that, continuing to watch Harley Quinn. I just finished season 3. So I'm now on season 4. And I know season 5 is going to be coming out at some point soon, I think. So yeah, excited about that. But other than that, I think that's it. And as far as updates.
Nice.
Yeah. Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. What about you?
Yeah, I said in an earlier episode that I was wait for you to ask. I don't want to just be like, that's cool, and now let me talk about myself. Anyway, yeah, with me, same kind of deal with me. Nothing really is new that much. We're recording this on a Friday night because we're going to be going out of town for Thanksgiving next week, so we wanted to record this a little earlier. So yeah, not a lot has had the chance to perspire. Is that the right word? Not a lot's happened over the week. Transpire? That's probably good.
I was like perspire.
Perspire, like perspiration,
what does that mean?
like sweating. Well, yeah, not a lot has happened. Not a lot to sweat. No, but yeah, just been playing some games. Been playing Dave the Diver, playing a little bit of Alan Wake 2. Nothing too crazy. We got caught up on Lego Masters yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. I'm rooting for Chris and Robert, I believe their names are.
I really want Nima and Sam to win.
I would also like Nima and Sam to win. They are those two teams I think are the two best right now. So if you're not a fan of Lego Masters, or if you just haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a Lego brick building competition show, and yeah, it's great. Go check it out. Yeah, I read a little bit more this morning. I finished reading Batman Hush, and that was a Batman story that I first read, I want to say 11 or so years ago, and it was a good reread. I totally recommend it if you're into Batman comic books and you haven't read it. But yeah, aside from that, nothing really going on. I got back into posting my reviews, and I posted 2 reviews this week. So I'm just posting as the things get done. I'm posting. I finished watching this anime Pluto this week. Planning on posting a review for that. I've got some notes written. I'll probably post it on like Tuesday of next week or something. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So, yeah, that's all the updates.
Nice.
So, what content do we have in front of us today? What did I give you?
Am I first?
You are first.
Wow. Okay. I was assigned Rat Race, and to be honest, I did not take the best of notes on this. So,
All right, what is this?
Yeah.
What is it? What is it about?
So this came out in 2001, and it's basically about a super wealthy owner of a Las Vegas casino.
It's a movie.
Yes, it's a movie. About a super wealthy owner of a Las Vegas casino who creates this game in which a group of random strangers are kind of pitted against one another to obtain $2 million that he has placed in a locker somewhere in Silver City, New Mexico. And they're told where this place is. And as they race to obtain this money that this wealthy man has placed in this locker, this man is like, I put in quotation streaming because I don't know the best word to say it. He's like keeping track of them, and has invited his wealthy friends to basically like come experience these people, race for this money, and place bets on who they think will win the money. So they're like all very greedy and just like do these silly like bets in the meantime, as they're kind of waiting for everyone to get to New Mexico. And so basically by the end of the movie, everyone's on their own journey to get to New Mexico. All kinds of crazy things happen to each person who's kind of racing to get this money. And by the end of the movie, through the power of movie mischief, the entire group of racers end up acquiring a piece of the money, and they're all excited and happy about it. But they find themselves on the stage of a charity concert, not realizing it's a charity concert. And which is, by the way, hosted by Smash Mouth, which is so of the time.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so by the time they, come to realize, oh, snap, like this is a charity concert, they decide, you know what? It's the children need it more because it was for hungry children. And so they give up their money. And so it's basically like about not being greedy and recognizing that, I don't know. I don't really know what I was supposed to take away from this. Recognizing that
it's a comedy movie. The setup is just supposed to be fun. It's like, hey, 6 random strangers in Vegas have to, race to get somewhere for $2 million. Like that's the setup.
Yeah.
All the commercials and ads and trailers were, just playing up that premise, and it's like, oh my gosh. And I remember like talking to my friends at the lunch table being like, who do you think's gonna win? I think it's gonna be the guys that have the monster truck in the trailer, even though like it's like Seth Green and this other guy are the ones that get the monster truck, and it's like they have it for all of 5 seconds.
They do. Yeah. I mean, it's a stacked cast. It's got like Whoopi Goldberg, Mr. Bean, like you said, Seth Green. John
Lovitz, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
John Cleese.
Yeah. It's got a lot of folks in it.
Yep.
I didn't love it.
Yeah, no. Well, first off, I could tell. Watching the movie, I could tell you weren't in love with it. Kathy Bates is also in this movie as a squirrel lady.
Yeah, which that part was kind of funny.
Yeah, okay. Tell me why you didn't love it.
I don't know. I think it was too long. It was going on forever, and like
an hour and 52 minutes.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I don't think I enjoy that kind of humor typically. Like, I feel like it's kind of the same humor of like National Lampoon, but I feel like National Lampoon does it a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot, and it was just very like childish, I guess.
None of it really aged well. It feels very of the time, very 2001. The humor is very childish, and guess what? I was a child when this came out. I was 7 years old when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I loved this movie. I thought it was the funniest thing, Yeah. Like all of them getting into these like wild antics. Like I remember every single part of this movie. And rewatching it, I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be so much fun. This is great. And then I think where it really fell apart for me, where I kind of realized like, oh, this is, stupid, was when there's this guy who he takes a helicopter ride with this girl to try and get to New Mexico, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna stop and say hi to my boyfriend, and turns out her boyfriend is like in the pool in the backyard with some other woman.
Yeah.
And then the woman who's flying the helicopter has like a whole breakdown and starts chasing him and starts acting all crazy, and I was like, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that part was very ridiculous.
And then it just kind of got more stupid as time went on from there.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just struggling, and the fact that if it had been short, then it would have been like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But like the fact it kept going, and we kept coming back to these characters, and then they would get into another situation, and then another situation,
yeah,
and then
it would
another
be like,
situation.
It's like you're following 6 different parties.
Yeah.
Over the course of this whole thing. So like, I was thinking about this as we were watching it. Like, you could watch, a YouTube video that's like all of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s scenes in Rat Race, and it would be like 10 minutes long,
Yeah.
But then put everybody's scenes together, and you have, an hour and 52 minutes.
Yeah. Like, especially when we were following the two brothers, it's like every time they were on the screen, I was like, all right, this is going to be the last one. This is the last crazy thing that happens. And they're going to be at
Who are the two brothers?
Seth Green, and I don't know who the dude is with all the piercings, which I actually thought he was very cute.
Oh.
I did. I liked that brother. I think he might have been my favorite character in the whole movie.
Yeah, so Seth Green and this other dude, Vince Villouf, they play Blaine and Dwayne, and they're brothers, and they're kind of like trying to scam their way into money. I like their duo quite a bit. I mean, they go through. I mean, their big thing is that they try to they wanted to split up, so they decide they want to copy the key, but then they talk about what the key is for, like to get $2 million in front of the key maker, and then the key maker jets off with the key. They chase him down. There's a hot air balloon and a field of cows at one point. Then they end up inside of like a monster truck show, and they steal the monster truck, and then 7-year-old Parker and his friends at the lunch table are like, the guys with the monster truck, they're gonna do it. And and then now all the kids are gonna go see the movie because they put that in the trailer. But yeah, and then they show up in New Mexico at the same time as everybody else. Oh my god.
Yeah, that part of everyone showing up at the same time, I was like, nope. There's no way. How did Cuba Gooding Jr. even survive?
Yeah.
He should be dead.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
So while you were watching it, did you have anybody that you were rooting for? Was there anybody that you thought like, oh yeah, this person's gonna win, or anything like that? Like, was any element of the premise like catching you to where you were like, oh, maybe these people will do it?
No, I had a feeling that like none of them would win. But what I will say is I wish my girl Whoopi got it, because she was such a sweet woman, and I felt like she deserved that money. Like, I don't know, she was just so kind, and I don't know, I enjoyed seeing her, like when they ran into Kathy Bates, and Kathy Bates was like, do you want to buy a squirrel? And she was like, oh, like how much are they? Like, she's like, showing like genuine interest in like other people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why is she lumped into these group of folks? She seems nicer than everybody else.
Yeah, and then they almost get killed by taking the Squirrel Lady's shortcut.
Yeah.
Which was also in the trailer, like in all the commercials.
Well, dang, the whole movie was in the dang trailer.
It was. But like, you could ask my mom about that, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, the Squirrel Lady, like so funny. Like, you should have bought a squirrel." Ha ha ha.
I mean, I did kind of like that part, but yeah, I mean, there was no one. I didn't want any of them to get it. I didn't. Yeah, and there wasn't one person I was rooting for. I was like, no, I don't want you to have it, because you don't deserve it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I have fond memories of this movie because like I was the target market in 2001.
Yeah.
You know, like when I think of this movie, I think of the Scooby-Doo live action movie from that time.
Ugh, fantastic.
I think about, I don't know what else came out around that. Shrek. I think about Shrek.
Shrek.
Anything that is like Smash Mouth affiliated. You know.
Yeah.
It was just, 2001 was a different time.
It's fun.
It was fun. It was fun. And like, yeah, so like of course this movie was perfect for what it was trying to do in 2001. But in 2023, none of it holds up. Like the story doesn't hold up, the comedy doesn't hold up, the presentation doesn't hold up. None of it. Okay, well, any other thoughts before I get into my facts?
No, not really.
Okay, so I thought it was funny that you pointed out Vince Valouf's character, the guy who has a tongue piercing and like has a lisp for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because one of the facts I read said that he wasn't in any promotional material or like on the movie's poster, despite being a main character, because his agent tried to get him star billing and then failed.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, like, of the people in this movie, he's kind of
Yeah. I had no clue who he was. Yeah.
So,
what is he in? Anything else that I would know?
he was in a movie called Grind that I remember.
Never heard
I think
of
I was
it.
looking at his IMDb. He was also in Epic Movie, I believe.
I don't know
But
what
as
that
like
is.
one of those like throwaway characters. Epic Movie was like when they were making Scary Movie, but then they stopped making scary movies and they started making other movies like superhero movie or epic movie or date movie.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
he was a throwaway character in an epic movie.
Gotcha. Well, I thought he was a little cutie in this one.
Yeah. Well, express that to send him some fan mail.
I like when he sees the
I'm sure he'll respond.
Yeah. I like when he sees the girl with the piercings and he's like driving. I
Yeah.
liked that part. I was like, "Oh, you found your match."
Yeah. Another thing about his character is that turns out the producers, those characters that he and Seth Green played, Blaine and Dwayne, the producers wanted Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes to play Blaine and Dwayne.
I don't know who those people are.
Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
That would have been funny.
They turned it down, but Rat Race actually, coincidentally, ended up opening the same weekend as Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and won at the box office.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they made a good decision of turning it down.
I mean, yeah, same.
They're their own brand, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, just some other quick facts and then we'll be done with this. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, he plays this referee who he was acting up during like a big football game, and so everybody that knows anything about sports like wants to kill him because they were like betting on that game. Which is kind of random, but apparently his character is based on a real referee.
Dang.
While Cuba Gooding Jr. was filming his scenes on the highway, because at one point in this movie, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character ends up he poses as the bus driver for this big bus, and the bus is carrying all of these I Love Lucy impersonators.
When I tell you, I have never hated a scene in a movie more than anything in the world. Like, I would rather watch movie 42 over and over again than have to watch all those Lucys. And like when the bus, falls over or whatever, and they're all like, "Ah!" I was like, "Oh, turn it off. Turn it off." Gosh.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't my favorite part when I was a kid either, but
I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It just
So-
I felt passionate about that.
no. I mean, good. Yeah, we're filling out the rest of the story of the movie because we skipped over a ton. So when they were filming on the highway, it was causing like people to rubberneck to kind of see like, oh, they're filming a movie, and slowing down to see like who's the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And Cuba Gooding Jr. apparently decided to moon the people driving by at one point.
Gosh.
Because they were rubbernecking and trying to see him. So it's like, well, here's my butt.
Wow.
Anyway, Rowan Atkinson is in this movie. He is famous for playing Mr. Bean.
I know. I never call him by his real name. I'm
Yeah.
always just like Mr. Beans in the movie.
Rowan Atkinson.
I always forget his name.
I heard that Rowan Atkinson was originally supposed to play Lord Voldemort, but was like
What?
struggling with depression at the time.
What?
Yeah, and so then Ralph Fiennes ended up playing Lord Voldemort. But like, can you imagine? I'm like, where did I read that?
Blew my mind.
I know. Where did I read that? I read that like on Instagram in the past like week. So I don't know how much I can verify that this information is true.
Oh my
But,
gosh.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's so many things, so many questions that it just left me with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sit on that. Anyway, Rowan Atkinson's famous for playing Mr. Bean, and in this movie he's basically playing Italian Mr. Bean. And that's like, that was like in the trivia. It was like, audiences consider this to be basically an Italian version of Mr. Bean.
I feel like, I mean, the only other thing I've seen him in, I think, is Love Actually.
Love Actually, yeah.
And it's like basically the same character. Like, he's just silly,
And he's in Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He plays Emil Mondavarius,
Yeah.
the benefactor and owner of Spooky Island.
But he's like the same in all those movies,
Yeah. I mean, I like him. He's
I do too.
fun
I mean,
guy.
he's just fun to like look at. Like, he makes like the funniest faces.
Yeah. Okay, and here's another fact. I don't know who Elmer Bernstein is, but apparently this was just a fact, and I went, wow, bummer. Elmer Bernstein composed a rejected score for this movie.
Poor Elmer.
I know, I'm like that.
I hope you're doing okay,
bummer.
Elmer.
Like, how often does that happen? You compose a whole score for a movie, and then it's just rejected, and then it ends up in the IMDb trivia section. Like,
Your failure is just out there for everybody.
Like,
Dang.
Poor Elmer. Yeah. Here I am telling it to the world, further perpetuating Elmer's despair.
Who got that information?
I don't know.
It's like everyone needs to know Elmer's failure.
Yeah. All right. Last fact, and this one's kind of like, really. It's kind of it's disappointing, and it's also surprising. Oh wait, I'm looking up Elmer Bernstein real quick. Let's see. The Magnificent Seven. Oh, this man's a big deal.
He's renowned.
He's renowned. Ghostbusters, Airplane, Gangs of New York. Wow.
He didn't need this movie anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, he composed the theme of Ghostbusters.
It's like he is John Carpenter.
What?
In disguise.
What are you talking about? John Carpenter has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. Just because John Carpenter composed.
No, I'm saying I know he has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. Sorry, my timing of that joke came at the wrong time. I was just saying, could you imagine if he like was John Carpenter in disguise? Because like John Carpenter is such like
multifaceted individual.
He created like
Yeah.
the like best music ever for like horror movies.
Oh, I see.
So I'm like, what if he was John Carpenter?
Well, yeah, Elmer Bernstein composed a rejected score. That sucks. Yeah. So, okay, he wasn't just some nobody. Wow.
Our mistake. We apologize, Elmer.
I mean, it looks like he must not have been doing a good job around that time, because it says he was credited for Rat Race, and it says composer, unused score. And then it says Gangs of New York, composer, unused music, uncredited. and that was like the year after. And then he's not credited with anything until 2007 for Return of the Ghostbusters, whatever that is, for the theme music of Ghostbusters. So, like, yeah, it seems like he just was a composer for a long time, and then maybe he got old or something. It looks like he's got a lot of his compositions credits say uncredited. That kind of sucks. Anyway, well, sorry, Elmer.
Sorry.
We spent a lot more time on that fact than I was anticipating. All right, back to my disappointing fact, because this I never got to say it. So this disappointing fact is, apparently this is the first time 2 Black Academy Award winners were in a movie together, with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, goodness.
And
in 2001.
In 2001, yeah. And it was Rat Race, of all things. It's like that, yeah, very disappointing. Very, like, really?
Yeah.
Anyway. And that's all my facts.
What a downer.
Yeah, that's my bad. Okay, let me see if there was any other fact.
Let's talk about Elmer again. I'm kidding.
Let's see. I remember a fact that I read, that there was a deleted scene in which it was really showing more about how John Cleese, who's the billionaire guy in this movie, about how crazy his and his friends' gambling antics were, and there was a deleted scene in which they were shown to be playing Monopoly with real money. Yeah,
I would not.
I will say those scenes are actually hilarious, because I mean, John Cleese is so funny. Like, you know, he was in Monty Python, like, way back in the day, and he's just got that, like, he's maintained that, like, level, that, like, that specific sense of humor from Monty Python. And so, like, for him to just, like, be in this movie, and it's like him and all of his rich friends betting on the most, like, insane things, like there's a scene where they're like, oh yeah, we have to fly to get to New Mexico as soon as possible, and it shows them on, like, a private jet, and it's like the turbulence is really bad, and it's like, oh no, like they're flying really fast, and then one guy pukes, and then they're like, okay, it's cool, like, you can stop, like, shaking the plane now. And they're like, who was betting on that guy to be the one to puke? And it's like, their betting behavior is so out of hand that they're betting, like, if we make the pilot shake the plane, who's gonna puke first? Yeah. And, like, that's just, it's so funny, because it's just always cutting back to them, and it's like, what are they gonna bet on now? And it's, yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah. Even in the year 2023. Leave it to a comedy legend to be the only funny person's to be giving off the only comedy in this movie that actually stands the test of time.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Yep, that's my movie, Rat Race. Hope you enjoyed it.
Nice. All right.
Doesn't seem like you did, but
I don't think I'll be returning to watch this movie again, but at least I saw it.
It's interesting watching some of these movies for this podcast. I find myself actively thinking it while we're watching it. Actively thinking, this might be the last time I watch this ever.
Yeah, which can be kind of a bummer, because you have a memory of it in your head, especially when it's like a childhood movie. Yeah. Of, like, you know, it's this great memory, and then you visit it and you're like, there it goes. Yeah. I don't want to see that anymore. Right. Like,
it's not like we could have just watched this, and then in 20 years I could have been like, oh, like, Rat Race, still love Rat Race, even if we, like, didn't like it this. But it's because we're recording the podcast. It's like in 20 years when somebody mentions Rat Race, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, we rewatched that for the podcast and did not like it. I'm going to have that specific memory and be like, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, anyway, shall we move on?
Yep.
Okay, so intermission. All right, back from the intermission. So I was assigned a movie called Shiva Baby. This came out in 2020.
2020, I think.
Okay, 2020. We're gonna roll with that until you.
2020.
Okay, 2020. So Shiva Baby is a very short movie. It was on HBO Max, and it follows a Jewish girl who is in college, and the movie starts out with her sleeping with her sugar daddy, and her sugar daddy thinks that she's in law school and that his money is helping support her get through law school. And so she leaves his apartment and says that she's got to go to a brunch thing. And so she doesn't actually go to a brunch thing. She meets her family at a Shiva. Shiva. She meets her family at a Shiva, which is basically a Jewish funeral because, somebody died. And oops, she bumps into her ex-girlfriend at the Shiva. And then, double oops, she bumps into her sugar daddy. And they act like they don't know each other at first, but then the parents introduce them, and it's pretty obvious that they're familiar. So they make something up. They're like, oh yeah, we met at temple. So through that interaction, her parents reveal to him that she's actually in a school program where she basically makes up her major into whatever she wants it to be. So he's kind of surprised to find out that she's not actually in law school, and also, triple oops, her parents are actually paying for her school. So where's his money going? And then, quintuple oops. She finds out he's married, and his wife is on the way, and they just had a kid this past year. So that's not good. And her ex-girlfriend is there giving her kind of a hard time. And in general, she's just kind of struggling being at this thing because everybody is just like gossiping about her future. She can't seem to get her act together at this thing. She's not eating. She's looking a mess. It's just not going well. She gets overwhelmed. At one point, she goes outside, bumps into her ex-girlfriend. They tell each other that they miss each other, then they make out for a bit, and that was kind of nice. There's some other stuff that kind of happens along the way. She's a little upset that this guy's actually married, so what does she decide to do? She goes into the bathroom, sends him some nude photos. Let's just...
The most logical thing
to do, yeah. Let's just add a little bit extra chaos to the situation. Why not? And so, from there, it's all just like, it's just tension just boiling up from talking to the sugar daddy and his wife and her parents all at the same time, multiple times, while this baby is just crying, in the background. Like in one conversation, the wife notices that the main girl and her are wearing the same bracelet, and that her husband got her that bracelet, and it's a real expensive bracelet, and it's a new collection. And she's like, that's funny. And the main girl's like, oh yeah, Mom, you got me this like a long time ago. And she's like, it's a new collection. And because sugar daddy got her that bracelet, so it's slowly kind of implied over time that the wife is kind of piecing things together and is mildly confrontational about it, but not like actually, but kind of. And main girl basically starts to have a meltdown, crying in front of everybody, and they decide to leave the Shiva. But then the parents obviously are oblivious to all of this and all of the awkward tension between, all of these different parties.
Well, the mom's kind of knows.
The mom's kind of picking up, but the dad is completely oblivious, and God bless his heart.
Dads are.
Yeah. He's just such a sweet man. At the end of the movie, he is offering to give everybody a ride home in his van, and they're like awkwardly trying to be like, no, we don't need to get a ride from you. And he's like, no, nonsense. I'll give you a ride.
Like, we
can all fit in this overstuffed van. Like, we need to take this man, his wife, his baby, my daughter's ex-girlfriend, my
her
wife,
mom.
The mom, like
the daughter's friend, the
ex-girlfriend's mom, and this other lady. And like, let's just fit 10 people into this van that seats 8. And they're all just like packed in this van and uncomfortable. And it's just like, oof. And then the movie ends. So this movie, I quite like this movie, actually. I thought it was really stressful, and I do enjoy a good stressful watch. I will admit that I really wasn't into it at first. I thought the main girl was really just a mess. I kind of had like no sympathy for her, but then I kind of started to get it over time. I mean, I still kind of like, this was a mess of her own making in a sense. So still don't have like a ton of sympathy for her, but at the same time, it was like it makes for great entertainment. Yeah, it just ended up being pretty investing, and learned a little bit about Jewish culture at the same time. So like that's a cool little bonus. If I had to like, I don't know, tie it into like some kind of greater theme, I'm not sure what that is. And I'm not sure like the ending being what it is. It kind of feels like it's just supposed to leave you off with that feeling of like whoop, like God bless this man, but like God, that was all just awkward, and it's like and it just wants us to be left off with that feeling, because that'll ultimately just remind us of what the whole experience of watching the movie was like. And then then maybe a few years later you'll be remembering like, oh yeah, I kind of liked that movie, it left me off with this stressful feeling, maybe I'll recommend that I watch it for my podcast that I have with my fiance. And that's exactly what you did.
I mean, I don't think there's like a moral to the story type of thing. I think it's more of just like, it's kind of like a coming of age kind of story. Like you're just seeing this really young girl just like trying to figure out life, like just, I don't know, being a young adult, and like failing at it, but like also not like failing at it, like having pressure also that's just like too much for anybody to have. And so, yeah, I think at the end you're just supposed to be like, I mean, it's hard being that age, And so you just kind of are like, dang, that was tough, but like, she'll be fine, she'll make it through. Yeah. And I think, and like, that's like at the end, like she like holds hands with her ex, and like, I think that's like
they seem to,
it's like to
make it through that whole experience together.
It's like at the end of the day, it'll be okay. We'll be fine. And so, yeah, so I feel like that's just what you're supposed to get out of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I dig that. Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend it. I'd give it a solid 3 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Which, according to my new scale of rating things from 1 to 5, a 3 is considered good.
Great.
No, great would be a 4.
Great that it's good.
I know. Yeah, any facts on this movie?
So I just have a few. So I think the really cool thing about this movie, so the director, her name is Emma Seligman, and hopefully I pronounced that right. And at the time that this movie came out, that it was released, she was only 25 years old. She's very young, which I thought was like fantastic. So this movie was actually like one of her short films that she created when she was in school. And then she turned it into a like full movie. And so when they were filming this, she was 24, came out, she was 25. But she is also, I just learned, the director of the recent movie that came out called Bottoms, which also features Rachel Sennott, which also features her and Io Adibri.
Io Adibri's in that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, awesome. I'm glad she's like, she's starting out so young as a director and like making more stuff. I love that. That's awesome. So yeah. Also, aside from a few of the producers, essentially most of the crew were women. So the writers, editors, music, cinematography, etc. were like all women, which I thought was pretty cool as well. And so the one of the things about this movie, and like I was like, since there wasn't a lot of facts, I was just kind of like reading through interviews from the director and things like that. And a lot of the things that the director was mentioning in these interviews was just like how there's so little bi representation. And so she wanted to kind of bring in this like story about a young queer like Jewish girl. And yeah, have that representation of like bi, someone who's bi, which I thought was like really interesting. And I was trying to think of like characters or like people in movies that are like have identified as bi, and I can't think of any that I've seen in content, and I'm sure maybe there's some out there and I just haven't seen it, but I don't know. I feel like there is very little representation, and I think this movie does a really great job of not being so explicit about like calling attention to it. Mm-hmm. It's just like it just is what it is, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that's her ex-girlfriend, but you know, she has this relationship with this man over here, and like it, like you just don't think about it, which I thought was great. Yeah, it just felt, I don't know, like it wasn't so pushed, I guess. So yeah, so that's that. The only other fact that I have is, so Kim, who is her sugar daddy's wife, played by
Diana Agron.
You said that so abrasively. Played by Diana Agron.
From Glee and I Am Number 4 fame.
Yeah. So Kim, this character, played by Diana, is referred to...
Have you seen I Am Number 4?
No.
Oh, I'm writing that down. For a rainy day.
So she is referred to as a shiksa.
Oh, yeah.
And I might be pronouncing that wrong, which means a non-Jewish woman. However, Diana is actually Jewish in real life, and Rachel Sennott is not.
Oh.
When Rachel's the main character of this movie.
Yeah.
And so she is not actually Jewish. So I thought that was funny. Kind of interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's all the facts that I have.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, it was a good choice.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I'd only seen it once, and I don't remember when I watched it. I think I watched it as soon as it was on HBO Max, because I liked the like cover art, like the poster.
That's funny. As soon as I saw the cover art, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be into this.
I loved it. I was like, oh, that's like, so cool.
I was like, this is not for me. But I didn't notice all the bagels. No. I just noticed the look on her face, and I don't know. Wasn't in love with it.
Something about it was like so captivating to me.
But I mean, looking at it now and having seen the movie, I'm like, nice.
Yeah, it was so captivating to me, so I watched it and I was like, that was so stressful, but like also I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm glad we got to watch it again, or I got to watch it again and share it with you.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yay.
All right, so next week is Thanksgiving. We're going to be out of town, so we're going to be on a we're skipping next weekend. We'll post the weekend, or we'll post in a few weeks. It'll be a while before we post again. Wow, it'll be a long while.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
No, so this will go up on Tuesday, which is the 21st.
That's
and
right.
So we're skipping the week of the 28th.
We'll be posting on the 21st. We'll skip the 28th, and then we'll post again on like the 5th.
Yeah.
Wow. So today's the 17th, and then the next episode's going to get posted on the 5th. That just feels like so far away. All right. Well, because the next episode's going to get posted on the 5th, we are now diving into Christmas content. So, there's going to be 3 episodes where we're going to be focusing on, I mean, not just Christmas specifically, happy holidays, all that. We're very inclusive here at the Content Swap Podcast.
Proceeds to only assign Christmas.
That's, yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that last year, so we're going to do that again this year. It's like October movie month with the Spooky Swap, but this time it's holiday swap? Christmas swap?
Holiday
swap. Anyway, so I do need to get some clarifying information from you.
Okay.
Last year, our first holiday swap pick, we focused on things that were like took place around Christmas, but they weren't explicitly Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of thinking of going for a similar vibe this on this first one, not going too deep into the Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's what I can propose, because I don't have another one of those movies. However, I do have a movie. If you haven't seen it, you might have seen it, because I can't remember if we've already watched it together. But it's set across multiple holidays, but Christmas happens twice in this movie. But
Okay.
it's a holiday movie. Like it shows Halloween, it shows Thanksgiving, it shows Christmas.
It's about holidays.
It's about holidays.
But Christmas gets double representation.
Correct. It's like it starts Christmas, it ends Christmas.
Okay. I mean, I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's also like, around the end of the year, so reflecting on 2023. It works.
Mm-hmm. But you might have seen it already. And if you have, then we got to scratch that idea.
Okay, well, I have a piece of content that I wrote down forever ago, and I specifically saved for this time.
Yeah.
But looking at it now, I'm like, it has honestly really nothing to do with Christmas. It's just got like a snowy, wintry vibe to it,
Got you.
So I'm trying to justify giving you that pick. I don't want to give it to you, and then you'd be like, that's not holidays. And it's like, yeah, it's really not. But it's about winter time.
Okay. Well, let me share mine.
All right.
And then if you've seen it, then we'll scratch this and do a holiday.
But I really want to give mine. Okay, well, what is it?
The Holiday
What is that?
with Emma Roberts and that Australian dude
I don't think
on Netflix.
I don't think I've seen that. No.
Okay. Then we can do your pick.
Yeah. No. Nope. I've definitely not seen this.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's funny. One of my other things that I wrote down is The Holiday.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Right, but
Every time
I'm
I
not
start it, I'm like, I think this will be boring.
I like that movie. I'm not assigning it to you right now. I might assign it to you in
Later.
like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, how funny would that be if we did The Holiday and The Holiday? That would be too much, maybe.
I don't think so. It's holiday time. That's what we're supposed to do.
No, it's just the fact that the names are almost the exact same thing. That's what I'm trying to point out.
I love it.
Well, I'm not going to do The Holiday. I am going to give you Yuri on Ice.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
Freaking show.
It's a show, but it's a 2-week break, so it's
That's
actually
true.
the perfect time to do it.
You're right.
And it's animated by Studio Mappa. It's only like 13 episodes, so
Mappa.
you might end up loving it. You might not. Regardless, you only need to watch like 4 episodes at minimum over the course of 2 weeks. That is less than 2 hours of your time. I think you can do it.
All right. I have a bone to pick with Mappa.
Well, we can get into that next week. It'll be a really interesting discussion, and we'll see what happens.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with
what's going on with Mappa.
Exactly. It'll be a great time to talk about it.
All right. I guess.
It's perfect.
I guess.
All right. So in 2 weeks, we have
The Holiday
and Yuri on Ice. Look forward to that.
I already have the Yuri on Ice theme song in my head.
I love the opening to this anime.
Know.
It's great. As soon as I saw the opening, I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch every episode because I just want to hear this opening and see this opening 13 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, look forward to that. We'll see you then. Stay content, and we'll catch you next time.
Just content.
Stay content. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, have a great Thanksgiving. Remember Indigenous folks and the plights that they have gone through. Donate to causes
that
support Indigenous folks.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, do that. See you next time. Have a great time. And whatever you do, donate, eat turkey, spend some time with the family.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.